Hello, this is Carrie again, and I have another video for you today. Today, I will be unboxing this package that I got from Jackson's Art to celebrate my 39th birthday. All right, let's see. So I got this to celebrate my 39th birthday, which was yesterday, September 16th. So this just came in the mail, so let's open this up and see what all is in here. I did pay for express delivery, and weirdly this was supposed to arrive in a previous package. I'm not sure why they shipped it in this one instead, but I had the 5 ml bottle of this and really liked it for dark skin tones, so I got the larger tube so that I can put it into more sets. And this is a Sennelier gray, which I'm going to be using because I'm going to take my Sennelier colors. I have a Sennelier travel palette, but I want to make another one that's more sort of geared towards city urban sketching. All right, and this is the big kahuna. I've been wanting this for a long time, but I just could not justify it. And then, I don't know, about a month ago, I fell at a movie theater, and I'm fine, but I was on crutches for a while, and it really sucked. So the movie theater's insurance company basically gave me like a pittance, for my inconvenience for having falling. So it is what it is. So I used most of it to pay bills, but I used a small portion to get this because I have been wanting this for a long time. And so were it not for the fall at the movie theater, I wouldn't have this. So I was like, you know what? Let me just do something crazy. My birthday's coming up, so I just decided to do something crazy. So this is what I decided to do. All right. Get this open. And so what this is this is a set of 24 Sennelier in a wood box. And you guys know that I love my wood boxes, and so I got this because I just have been, I've seen it on other people's unboxing, and I just wanted to have it because it seemed like a really cool box to have, because I love the wood boxes, and this one seemed like an especially nice one. And it was my birthday, and it fell, and so here it is. All right, so what you get is you get the wood box. You get 24 paints, some brushes, and this one doesn't come with the Sennelier. Ooh, I love the grain on this. Oh, you see that? I made the table move a little bit. I love the grain on this. So let me see if I can get it up. Look at that nice grain on this. And this is it's actually not embossed or debossed. This is just I think printed or painted on here. Oh no, it looks like it's very lightly embossed. And let's see. So this is a nice wood box. Or wood veneer. Hold on. Let's see. Alright, so it opens up like this, and you get this sheet, which is I think this is like 90-pound watercolor paper, and it gives you the colors that are included for you to swatch them. And I believe here they are. They fit in here pretty snugly, actually. So these are the colors that you get, and you also get a brush which has like a gum arabic or something on here to make it really stiff, but this is a real squirrel quill. This is Sennelier, but I think it's made by Raphael's. It's made by Raphael. They have really nice brushes. I have some of their brushes. And I think this one is going to be labeled the same way, but this is a size 3. And I have seen people's videos, and the brush and the brushes that you get does vary. I've seen somebody get a 6, but I got a 3 and a 2 quill. And you get this really nice ceramic palette, and I love mixing on ceramic. Mixing on ceramic is the best thing in the world. So you get this really nice ceramic palette, and we're gonna go through the colors that come here. Let's see. because I want to do something. I want to see if you can put the colors in here. You can. It's a little bit looser here, but you can put the colors here. So that's probably what I'm going to do is, oh, you can actually also remove this. Oh, that's fascinating. That one removed. I'm not sure if the other two are removable, but that one did remove. So that's fascinating. I didn't see that coming. So anyway, so the colors that you get are lemon yellow. Well, the colors that you get too seem to vary. Indian yellow. Let's see here. Naples yellow deep. Actually, you know what? I'm going to take this out and put this over here. So I'm just going to put the colors here because I'm actually going to change the colors that come here. So let's just see. And then we're going to swatch it, and then I'll show you what I end up putting in here. French vermilion, which I will keep because French vermilion is a good color. Bright red, probably pull bright red and move it onto one of my travel palettes that I'm trying to build. Venetian red, which I actually like Venetian red. Let's see here. Alizarin Crimson. Carmine. Carmine I think is a fugitive color, but I'll probably end up keeping it. Quinacridone red. Opera Rose. I will definitely be pulling Opera Rose. I'll tell you that right now. But you know what I'm going to do with this one? I'm going to put it in my... I have a thing that has all the Sennelier colors, and the color that didn't come in the set was Opera Rose. So I'll probably put the Opera Rose in there. I'll leave it here for now, but I'll probably pull it for my own one. So anyway, this was Quin Red, which we said. This is Cobalt Violet Light Hue. This is a really nice color, and also I really like to have this color, so I'll probably keep this one in. Let's see. Ultramarine Deep, which is another really nice Sennelier color. Phthalo Blue. Sennelier Blue. They love putting this on Sennelier, like literally every set. Also, they tend to use the same colors in their sets, so if you have another set, you'll probably get duplicates. Sennelier Blue is a color that you'll probably have a lot of. I pulled that one. Forest Green is a good color. I'll probably keep that one. Viridian Green. I'll probably pull that one. Phthalo Green Light. Yellow Ocher. Burnt Sienna. I don't really like the Sennelier Earth Tones. Payne's Gray. Warm Sepia, which is a color that I get a lot in sets, and I don't really know, like, you know, what people use with it. I might use that one for my city palette. Raw Umber. And Ivory Black. Alright, so I'm going to open these up, pick the colors that I want to put in the set. I'm probably going to keep 36 colors in here, and I'll be right back. So I am back. It's actually been a few months since I filmed the original, and I've had this for, like I said, a few months now, and I absolutely love it. It looks great. Let's see if we can very gently turn it over. There's a ceramic palette inside, and take a look at what the back looks like. Uh-oh, it looks like I made a misfit. There's a little bit of a stain over there. But let's see what happens when you turn it over and then try to turn it back. All right. I'm scared. You guys heard that. I'm scared. Oh, it looks bad in there. Oh, it's actually not too bad. There's a little bit of movement. A couple of things got moved around, but mostly it looks okay. A couple of things got moved around. Let's see what this is. Yeah, that was a couple of things, but not really anything major. All right, so you could do that. If you want to do that, you can, you know, I wouldn't travel with this, honestly, but, you know, if by accident it gets moved around while it's closed, everything will be just fine, I think. All right. Hopefully I have things back in the correct order. It looks like I do. So there's that. All right, so so this is the swatch card that I made, and I measured it to try to be as big as possible and store it here. If you guys saw earlier in the video, the part that was a couple of months ago, you guys saw that it did come with a pair of brushes. These are both labeled as Sennelier, but I think they might be Raphael brushes, honestly. I haven't tried them, but just based on the Raphael brushes I have, these seem really similar. It was hard to tell them apart in the little cup that I keep them in. All right, so I haven't really used either one of these brushes, mostly because they're quite large. This is a size 2, but it's a size 2 mop, so it's quite big. And I don't normally paint in a large enough scale. This is a size 3, but again, I believe that these is a sable brush, and size 3 does hold quite a bit of water. So let's get out the swatch cards, and we're gonna swatch them out. I did make a mistake because it's 36 colors in here now, since I took the brushes out, and I keep these brushes, with the rest of my brushes. I accidentally didn't count right, and I only put I don't know what I was thinking. I only did 32 cubes here, so when we finish with this, I'm gonna have to make some mini cubes, in another piece of paper, and we'll swatch out the rest. All right, so let's get started. So I'm gonna swatch out this, and then we're gonna do I think I'll do a voiceover on the swatching and talk to you about how the brushes feel. So let's do it that way. I didn't mention is this palette came with just Sennelier colors, but I put colors from all different kinds of brands, just picking out my favorites, and trying to build a cohesive palette around my favorite. I also included colors from Jane Blundell's Ultimate Mixing palette. I tried to be able to sort of replicate her palette in here with Sennelier colors, as well as some from the Watercolor With Me book. And I'll show you some paintings that I did with the Watercolor With Me book. And so far, all the paintings that I've done in that book, I've used this palette and only this palette. So that's been a lot of fun. All right, let's get started on the swatching. All right, you might hear a cat purring in the background because Stewie's hungry. Anyway, this is Buff Titanium, which is, it's funny. I never had a problem with using whites in the watercolor, but this is a little bit different. It's kind of an off-white, and it's a very flexible color. It does still work like a white. When you add it to blue, you don't get green. You get, lighter blue. But it's a really nice color, and it's opaque enough to be able to use it as a white, Anyway, this is lemon yellow, and this is just a classic Sennelier lemon yellow. Oh, and most of the colors on here are Sennelier unless they are marked. The Buff Titanium is from Daniel Smith, so there's that. But that lemon yellow, it's great all around. Cool yellow mixes great greens with, phthalo greens, or you can get golden colors with it. Anyway, this next color, and I'm not going to be going over pigment numbers because I've went over pigment numbers for most of these colors in the past, or I'm going to in the future for the Daniel Smith. So this is a Sophie Yellow, and it's sort of a mid-tone yellow. And honestly, the reason why this is here is that my set came with 2 tubes of this, and I just want to use it up as much as I can. It's an okay yellow, but it's not the best yellow, but it's still very effective. So I try to use it up as much as possible. This is a yellow lake. It's kind of a cross between a Sophie Yellow and maybe with it has a little bit of golden undertones that I really like. This is Indian Yellow, and honestly, I wanted a sort of warmer yellow, and the palette was already included one of these, so I said, you know what, I'm just going to use it since it's here and it is included. And so I thought I would use this Indian yellow in the palette, but honestly most of the time I end up using lemon yellow and Sophie Yellow. The next one here, now this is interesting. This is Sennelier Yellow Deep, and originally this color was not in my slot of colors that I used at all, but Billy Showell uses it for her floral paintings, so I started trying out with it and found that it was a really interesting, useful color. The next one here is Cadmium Yellow Deep, And same thing with this. This is a color that I wasn't really in my palette because it's a cadmium color, but I saw, you know, some people recommended it and I got a little bit of use to it. And I was like, oh, okay, this is a good color. This red orange is just an interesting color, and I thought that it would be nice for some applications to have a more true orange than some of the other colors that, you know, might not be as orange. This is Chinese orange, and this is a color that I just ended up trying out because it came in one of the sets. And I used it and I was like, oh, this is a fun color to like work with and to add tints to other colors. This is a color that is exclusive to Sennelier. I did try very hard to stick to single pigment colors, but this color is not a single pigment color, which is okay. This is French Vermilion, and it's kind of a, you know, it's a color that's included in a lot of the Sennelier sets. It's sort of their version of like a warmish red, but I like it, and I ended up using it a lot since it was included in all the Sennelier sets that I got. I was like, oh, this is a fun color. Now this is a Daniel Smith color, and this is Anathocorn red, and it's a sort of a mid-tone red, maybe a little bit on the cooler side. And I just wanted this red because sometimes you just want to use, like, you just want to have one red, and this is a red that I could use more as a warm red or more as a cool red. I think of it as sort of the red equivalent of Untitled Blue. So this is very similar to that in that sense. Anyway, this is Alizarin Crimson, and the light fast rating for this color is not that high. It is a multi-pigment color, but you know what? It's so pretty. And honestly, I'm not doing any museum works, so I said, let's put it on the palette. It does have a little bit more drying shift than some other colors, but I was like, it's so pretty when dry, when everything. So I was like, let's just use this. This is Carmine. This is their sort of Sennelier's closest thing to quinacridone rose, so like a really cool red, but it's not the most light fast color. Still, I really like it, so I put it in here, but I did add the Daniel Smith quinacridone rose, sorry, as I use that as my quin rose, and I have it as my, you know, my basic cool red for pretty much all my sets. So that's why that's there. And this is Potter's Pink, and this is honestly here because I saw a video, I actually seen it like 5 or 6 times, by Sadie Saves the Day, and she talked a lot about this color, and I've been using it a little bit, and it's such a fun color. I don't normally like pinks, but this is a very granulating color, and it's just a very fun color that's not that intense and not that tinting. Going to all the way in the Potter's Pink, the Quin Rose and the Potter's Pink were both Daniel Smith. This is a core color, one of the only 2 core colors that I used in this set, and it is the Dioxazine Purple. And I just love you saw how fast that spread, and Dioxazine Purple is already a strong color, and it just makes it all the more stronger. This is Ultramarine Deep, and it is my favorite ultramarine, and I just love it. And it just, when I'm using for regular ultramarine, that's the one I use. Indian Throne Blue, I love this color. It is much more staining and stronger than Ultramarine Deep. Indian Throne Blue would be like if Ultramarine and Dioxazine Purple kind of like had a baby. It has a very similar, you know, it's not that different a hue, but it's much stronger and much more staining, and I just love it. I use that a lot to mix really dark blacks with burnt umber. So anyway, this is Cobalt Deep, and honestly, I don't really use this color that much, but it's in the set and I had it, and I was like, you know what, I got to use some of these colors. And so it's part of my way to sort of get me to use colors that are a little bit out of my comfort zone. So this Cobalt Deep is definitely out of my comfort zone. This is Phthalo Blue, and it is not a particularly strong Phthalo Blue. There is a stronger drying shift on this than on some of the other Phthalo Blues, but I decided to go with the Sennelier because I've been spending time with the Daniel Smith Phthalo Blue, and honestly, it's a little overkill. So I kind of like the fact that this Phthalo Blue is not the strongest Phthalo Blue on the market. In fact, it's a slightly weak Phthalo Blue, but I'm okay with that, honestly, because regular Phthalo Blue is a little bit extra. So there's that. And this is a Daniel Smith color. This is Cerulean Blue, and I just love this color. There's a chromium cerulean from Daniel Smith as well that I don't like as well. But this cerulean just granulates so well, and it makes the prettiest grays. If you want to have a really faint sort of touch of purple, you can mix it with Potter's Pink, and it just makes the most granulating soft purple. So I just love this color. This is Cobalt Turquoise, and honestly this color is here because, again, I just want to use it up. And I have a tube of it, and I just want to use it and kind of push myself a little bit out of my comfort zone. I've been seeing some of the things that can be done with this. It can be blended with the Quin Rose, I think. So that's what I'm going to do. This color is here because it's a pretty color. It's a little bit on the opaque side, but it's a single pigment green, and there aren't that many of them. So I was like, let me add this one, and I just love the way it looks. This is one of those Sennelier colors, though, that I did end up getting in the half pan because it just makes a sloppy, wet mess and does not really ever dry. So the emerald green is one of those colors. This is Sennelier green, and it's kind of like a phthalo green, but a less blue shade of phthalo green. This is a more like if you had yellow shade phthalo green, and unlike, say, the Daniel Smith phthalo green, it's not like crazy staining and almost unusable. So that's why I went with this Sennelier one. This is a forest green, and it is a 2 pigment color. Actually, I think it might be even more than 2 pigments, but it is a multi-pigment color that sort of replaces the Daniel Smith more traditional phthalo green, and I still love it. Even though it is a multi-pigment color, it still mixes really well, and it can still be used as all your regular whatever. This is it's the first sap green I had, and it still is kind of my favorite sap green, although you can make a pretty nice sap green with brown green, which is kind of like antique green, and either one of the, the forest green or the Sennelier green. But I just love this color, and I use it all the time for grasses, or I can, add a little bit of a different color to get different hints out of colors. But this is a very pretty color, and like I said, this makes, if you want to make your own sort of mixture of a sap green with a lot more variety, you can mix this up with pretty much any of the other greens, and it just does wonders with it. And it's just an all-around very pretty color. It can use it for, like, if I'm having to get antiques and I have to make a gold, that's what I will use in part. This is the original single pigment Quin Gold, and it's a much stronger color than is here because I just tapped that, and I just wanted to use a very light tap that. I just want to use a very light touch on it because it is a color that I don't want to waste, and I literally cut one of my tubes open, and I went through and I just scraped off every last bit that was left over. This is Daniel Smith Yellow Ochre. I don't know why it's not marked as Daniel Smith, but this is a Daniel Smith color, and honestly a lot of the yellow ochres lately have just felt really weak and crazy opaque to me, and I've just been using the Daniel Smith Yellow Ochre all around. This is another recommendation by Sadie Saves the Day, Transparent Brown. She uses this for African American skin tones, and that's what I've been using it for, and it works really, really well. I didn't get a chance to do all the colors, and when we're done with the swatching videos, I'll show you the last 2 colors that I didn't swatch out. But you won't miss anything. This next color here that I'm doing right now is Caput Mortem, which is also Indian Red. It's a PR10. It's like a Daniel Smith Indian Red. It's a PR101 color, and this is a Sennelier color. But I strongly recommend, if you're going to buy this color from pretty much anybody other than Daniel Smith, I would say, you know what, just get it in the half pan and pour your own tube. I have a M-gram version. That color never dries. This is one of the few blacks that I use regularly. It is so granulating. I don't think the video does it justice. It is just so granulating. All right. You just saw me swatch out all of this and talk about the colors. What I was saying about the black is that it's very granulating, and it's a very pretty sort of, I don't know, it's just a very pretty black. So if I want to have, you know, something with a lot of effect, even more than, you know, something like Cerulean Blue and Ultramarine Blue, I will use this black here. I mean, Cerulean Blue and Burnt Sienna or Burnt Umber. I'll use this black here. It's also really nice to add to certain colors to give it, you know, a special, you know, effect. So so this is just a special effects color. Anyway, so so these are pretty much all the colors. There's a few colors that I didn't swatch because I put 32 squares here when I have 36 colors. So the colors that you missed were basically Burnt Sienna, Burnt Umber, Raw Umber, and Neutral Tint. Neutral Tint, I use it to make colors darker, but I also use it to make colors darker in cases where Burnt Sienna or Burnt Umber and Ultramarine might have a strange interaction. So sometimes those two colors can sort of, especially like, say for example, if I'm using it with red, sometimes it can have a weird interaction. So I will use neutral tint when I can't use that combination. I will also use neutral tint in addition to Burnt Sienna or Burnt Umber and Ultramarine or Indian Throne Blue to make a gray even darker. That's a lot of what I use that for. So I can make an almost black color that way by adding it to those two. Raw Umber is a color that wasn't really in my wheelhouse until the book Watercolor With Me in the Ocean. That recommends that, and she uses it a lot in nature paintings, and I just thought it was extremely useful. So I decided to add that in. And you guys know Burnt Sienna, Burnt Umber. You know, a lot of people have one or the other. I tend to have both just because I find them to be useful in different ways. You know, sometimes I want a slightly lighter gray and I will use like Burnt Sienna and Cerulean Blue. Sometimes I want a super dark gray but not quite black enough to add neutral tint. I will use Burnt Umber and Indian Throne. So that's kind of why I have that here. All right, so let me talk about just a few more things and then we're going to be done here. I do want to talk about my experience with the brush. This is my first time using this brush, and animal hair brushes, hold on, let me zoom in a little bit. Animal hair brushes can be a little bit finicky, and you might have seen that in the video where a little bit of the point lost, but you can get that back. You just have to, you know, reshape it while it's wet, and then just do a very gentle turn while you have it there while it's still wet, and that will help it keep its shape. Or at least that's what I've been doing. I'm not an expert, so you know, double check with your experts to see. But that's what I've been doing to help keep the point, or to help restore a point. The same thing here. This worked really well. And also because of the point problems that I had, I was like, okay, this is definitely natural fiber. Synthetics tend to be a little bit less finicky about that point. But you know, whatever. It still worked out really well. So, so that's it. And then I just keep this here. And when I'm going to close it, I just put this here because sometimes it won't close for whatever reason. And this is basically like what I use as my main palette. Oh, I did tell you I was going to show you some of the stuff that I did here. And let's see if I can very carefully, just super quickly. And all of these were done using just this palette and, you know, nothing else. So this is here. Let's see here. Let's see what else we got. This is the turtle. I was done using just the colors that you saw me swatch. Let's see what else is. This penguin, I did use a Daniel Smith yellow ochre right there. And let's see, right here, you can kind of see a little bit of traces of the Indian Throne. It's a very almost bluish black in the back. So anyway, so it's definitely enough that you can do, you know, any kind of art that you want. You know, and I don't mind not having the space for brushes. I know some people will prefer to have the two brushes already here. I have a whole big giant thing of brushes, so I'm not bothered by having to go out and get my brushes. But if you needed just two brushes, this is really both of these will hold a good point when you you know, get them unfinicky. But I work in a small, very small sort of format, and both of these are just too big for the vast majority of what I do. Anyway, so I hope you guys like this video, and let me know down in the comments if you have any questions, if you want to see me, you know, talk anything else, or any other questions about this set, or any of the other wood boxes set that I have. I highly recommend this. This was a great value. I should have got it when the price was like $100 over the summer, but it went up a little bit, and I don't regret, you know, paying the extra at all. I absolutely love this set. This is what I use as like when I'm at home and I want to use just the best of all the colors. This is what I bring out. Sometimes I want to use a specific brand, usually for a review or just to get some practice or to sort of get me out of my comfort zone. Then I will, then I will, you know, pick something else. But otherwise, this is mainly like what I use. So I hope you guys like this video. Let me know down in the comments, and thank you again to the patrons and to everybody who's liked the videos, and you know, and so on. All right, I will see you guys later. Don't forget to stay for the video of the cat. All right, bye. I might eat. Look at this. Look at this. Every single time I eat, no matter what I'm eating, look how thirsty he is. Look at that. He gets regular cat food. I just fed him. Dewey, why you a bad kitty? Look at him. Look at him. Look at him.